Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your weekly Mag 7 update. And this is for the week of Monday, April 27th, 2026. I start with Microsoft. Microsoft rejected a significant sell signal that occurred, most affirmatively, the middle of March. We saw some downside follow through, almost reaching our initial objective, but we were looking for the possibility of much more. The springing back, closing back above the 403.74 formation carries with it 487.85 as a 2 to 3 month target. I still think that is realistic. We also, so I'm gonna kind of break this down a little bit. We also had a speed line that we settled above, and so you've got the 403.74 channel bottom in combination with the 407.42 speed line. This is still a zone to buy into, anticipating 487.98 as a 2 to 3 month target. But I'm also presenting this descending channel top that we've yet to actually test. A couple things about that. One is you could play the 3 to 5 day swing trade if you like, selling 431.91, anticipating the possibility of bearish easing back into this 403.74 to 407.42 area. Or you could just use 431.91 as your next go with buy signal. So if you've yet to go long Microsoft over the last couple of weeks with that sell signal rejection, that is, i.e. a valid buy signal into the 480s, closing above 431.91 is signal enough to anticipate 487.98, already targeted resistance in as little as 1 or 2 months. 487.98 can contain buying. I don't know why these numbers are a little different. I think that's 487.85, but it's irrelevant this week. 487, upper 487 handle. This former channel bottom can contain buying on a monthly basis, and we could fall away from there. Now, of course, if we were to fall away and close back below 403.74, we are back on the defensive as far as Microsoft is concerned, and I would expect the mid 340s, upper 340s within 3 to 5 weeks, I think, is a good guess. And then there is the very real possibility that later in the year we continue into the low 200 area, but we're not there. Where we are is bullish above 403.74, expecting 487 and change. Secondarily so if we close this week above 431.91. On to Meta. Meta did the same thing a few weeks ago, along with Microsoft, threw off a meaningful sell signal. This one wasn't as significant as Microsoft's, but it did carry with it what we were expecting would be a mid-470s objective. Wasn't to be. 2 weeks later, we sprung back, closed above not only the channel bottom at 592.61, but also above the high of the low at 608.64. Now, there is a significant pivot point to the upside that'll take us into the third quarter. This is an important milestone that if Meta can close this week above 699.95, I would expect within a couple of months or sooner 696.25, and by the end of the year or 3 to 5 months from now, I would say 894.73 is a realistic objective if we close this week in Meta above 699.95. So I see this as a solid go long strategy that is longer term in scope if we can close above 699.94. Until then, we could trade inside of this wedge for the next month or so, selling 699.95, buying 608.64. And very similar to Microsoft, if we do close back below this channel bottom at 592.61, which is not going to happen this week, but if over the next few weeks it does, then we're back to anticipating 475.47 within a month or two. This is a longer term structure that can contain selling through the rest of the year, and from here we can round up nicely. On to Google. Google rip-roaring away still. It was the settlement a couple of weeks ago back above this channel bottom that did throw off a sell signal or reject a sell signal that occurred back in really February. We were anticipating bearish continuation south into the 230s, 250s, this zone here. Obviously didn't happen. We reversed, and in fact, last week we put out a new high settlement price on the weekly chart. We took out the previous week's high. We've yet to retest 349 even, which is the all-time high from early February. But I do think that just holding above 334.44, this former channel bottom that also contained last week's selling pressures, will keep, bear with me, I need to see what I'm looking at here, will keep 389.39 in reach over the next 2 to 3 months. So holding above 334.44. That was the image I showed in the last chart. Will keep over the next couple of months 389.39. I think you can play that as an objective. And if we close this week above 349 even, and we may, I think this could be a 3 to 5 week blast. By the end of May, we just might see 389.39. And this is a nearly 2-year channel top that may well contain quarterly buying pressures when tested, and we can fall away from there. A closing back below 334.44. And that is, once again, this former channel bottom. If we close the week below 334.44, bear with me, I got to look. This low 300, upper 290s in reach within 3 to 5 weeks or less. So a weekly settlement below 334.44, you can exit a long position. That's the first thing. But I think you can also play the short side just near term only. 300.52 in reach, the high of the low. This 295 formation in reach. This is an area where we actually could bottom out then through June into July and round up again. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon threw off a significant buy signal a few weeks ago above 228.37. That would be akin to Meta throwing off a buy signal above 699.95. And that happened several weeks ago with Amazon. The settlement above 228.37, I'm going to jump to this chart, carries with it a 2 to 3 month objective, as I've been saying, at 286.43. And that was underscored with last week's settlement above that 258.60 high. Previous all-time high from last November. So if you've yet to go long with the buy signal that occurred 3 weeks ago above 228.37, you have another reason to go long now over the next 3 to 5 weeks or sooner, 286.43 in reach. This is a 3-year structure that may well contain buying through the entire third quarter, and we can fall away again from there. Downside, closing the week back below 258.50. 258.60. I don't want to say that it indicates 228.37 because it doesn't, but it certainly allows that to play out. We would probably need not just pure technicals, but some bearish information that would send this market south back to 228.37, where we could bottom out through May, through June, and round up into the 280s within 3 to 5 months. But right now, it remains a 2 to 3 month target at 286.43. Let's move on to Apple. Apple we cover every single week on our paid side of wickedstocks.com, our subscription-based platform. But I can show the broad brushstroke analysis. This is the 290.99, a 6-year channel top that we've tested twice in the last 18 months, can continue to contain buying on an annual basis, and below which you must allow for the upper 190s and climbing over the next full year. I can't say that I have an indication of the upper 190s. We would need a sell signal on the way down. Do I show it? I don't. I don't want to, actually, because it's just giving away information that people pay, our monthly fee to receive. But I will say in the months ahead, 214.82 solid support if tested. Upside, if we can close above 290.99, and I don't see that this week, but we could over the next month or two close above 290.99. We would then anticipate within a full year or two this 390.71 level. There are other little levels on the way up. I could draw what would be the next near to midterm, and that would be this structure that is now at 319 and climbing. That would be a 2 to 3 month target. But we're, once again, not there. Let's move on to Tesla. Tesla we cover every single day in our wickedstocks.com YouTube platform. Old news, 342.95, this base of 1-year channel support, able to contain selling through May, even into the third quarter, and above which 437.58 remains a 1, 2, 3 month objective where we could top out on a monthly basis and fall away. I've been mentioning how we could trade inside this band for the next few months. If we close above 437.58, expect the 540s within 2 to 3 months. Downside, if we close the week below 342.95, we enter a sell signal that should, over the next 3 to 5 months, yield the mid-220s, 225.13. NVIDIA we cover every single day at wickedstocks.com, but this is broad brushstroke. We did have a buy signal a couple of weeks ago above the 194.98 formation that anticipates the 240s. There's some wave counts, significant ones, in the 241 handle. I have 238.33, a simple trend line. I consider this to be our objective over the next 2 or 3 months. If we close the week above 212.18, that is a secondary sign of strength. And so if you've you've yet to go long NVIDIA from a couple of weeks ago, you could consider going long with a settlement above 212.18. That would be, I don't see this as a double top. I think we're going to take this out probably this week. And if so, we could see 238.33 by the end of May. That is quite possible. If we do close the week back below 194.98, that reverses momentum, does reject the buy signal, which is in essence a valid sell signal. And I would anticipate within a matter of 2 to 3 to 5 weeks, the upper 160s. And finally, Palantir, not part of Mag 7, but we cover it anyway. You can bottom pick the mid 120s, and that's been holding well. This is that February 25 high. And we slipped below it a few weeks ago. We'd mentioned that once tested, you could anticipate this former channel bottom. This has been roughly containing buying pressures, but closing above 150.80, I think next week yields 167.40. And I see this as kind of our 1 to 2 month framework, buying the mid 120s, selling 167.40. You could trade inside of this wedge for the next several months. If we close above 167.40, wrong chart. If we close above 167.40, and if you've yet to go long Palantir, this is a significant buy signal that should play out through the third quarter. The following 2 to 3 months, 3 to 5 months at the most, then anticipating new all-time highs, the 236.67 formation likely. Downside, if we close below 125.41, then we are indeed within 3 to 5 weeks expecting 95.71, and within 2 to 3 months, the 63.40 to 66.12 area. That pretty much rounds it out. This is a quick one. Sometimes these go 15 minutes, and I'm wondering, what have I missed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did cover Alphabet. Yeah, 6. Yeah, there's 7. Okay, Mag 7 done. That's all I've got for this week. Please click like, share, subscribe. Be back next week with another weekly edition of the Mag 7 report. You have a great week.